is also a single most important topic, because we find that 2-3 times already they have asked. NITI Aayog is also a topic which can be asked in paper 3 also. Yes. People do not understand the difference between when it is asked in paper 2nd and asked in paper 3. NITI Aayog has multiple roles. One role is federal polity role. Other role is think tank role. Another role is bottom-up planning role. Fourth role is innovation role. So questions can have different nature, but people write from only one perspective. That is how a wrong understanding of NITI Aayog. Plus they have very shallow knowledge and shallow understanding when they write. So we'll try to write all these things means address. So let's write few lines, then we'll talk on this. The creation of NITI Aayog. The creation of NITI Aayog is considered as a radical step in institutional reform. As it replaced planning commission, which became symbol of socialist development model. It was created to promote innovation, transformation, and cooperative federalism. Hence, it represents one of the most important reform steps taken by the present government. Its name itself is about National Institute of Transforming India. It means it is for transformation. It is for transformation of entire country. Not only merely change as socio-economic development. Hence, as an institution, it has been given a different structure, role and functions. From that of planning commission. Yes. So we should know that the context, if you see this, context of its creation, context is related to planning commission and this context is, let's say, this. So basically it is considered as simple. Let's say we had slow growth or poor growth. We had centralized planning. So when government changed, that's 2014, new government. So it wants to bring, let's say, innovations, decentralization, and promote cooperative federalism. More importantly, let's say, any country which has grown, any country that has grown, let's say US or UK, Japan, Germany, they have their own uniqueness, let's say. They are known for a particular aspect. Yes. So similarly, we also, let's say that, aim at creating something which is unique to us. Like say Germany is known for good in manufacturing, heavy machines, isn't it? So that is how the idea, let's say that we also wanted to have uniqueness in one or, let's say, this or that aspect. We know that also total quality management. So Japan is also known for total quality management, TQM. Similarly, let's say government wanted to develop. So it was expected that it will also find Indian way of development. Indian way of development. This. And that development should be transformative rather than merely change. This. Means somehow Planning Commission and National Development Council, they had become outdated institutions. They were not trying to bring development, let's say, change as desired. So we wanted to create an institution which can, let's say, bring desirable level of development. This means India did not have a think tank which can support innovation and development as we desire. Because Planning Commission became more as a bureaucratic body. This. Since we don't have to teach Planning Commission other things, so you will know yourself here and there, isn't it? Although a bit will mention, but our syllabus is categorized in such a way that it does not bring the, let's say, synchronized fashion. So a bit of planning, etc. you may be reading in your economy section, isn't it? By that way, you'll know that planning, centralized planning, failure of centralized planning, blah, blah things. So on that basis, you'll understand. So idea is that can we have an institution which can mobilize our think tank, our resource, and we can also, let's say, grow as we desire or as we have the potential. So a need was felt that there should be an institution which can play that role as a think tank, and that is how this idea resulted into creation of NITI Aayog. NITI is related to policy and planning is related to Yojana, if you say. The Yojana is a less, let's say that, transformative than the NITI. NITI policy. A plan and policy, so you know that plan is part of policy. This you can say. Policy is a broad term. Plan is a narrower term. This. So NITI Aayog scope mandate is broader than Planning Commission. This Planning Commission mandate was just to bring socio-economic development through planning, but NITI Aayog mandate is to bring transformation not through planning but rather through mobilizing our, let's say that, national resources, right? And let's keep bringing innovation. This we can consider. Its mandate is broader, that's why they have named it as Transforming India. Hence, institutionally also, if you see, so it is different from what Planning Commission or NDC used to be. So that is, we'll take, we'll understand. So, institutional structure. So, let's say that institutional structure you can consider. It has governing council, right, subgroup panel, initially when it was created, so it had only two such, let's say, things. One is governing council, other is called subgroup panel. Now gradually it has added program evaluation division and there are verticals. Now it is a new name of different units. You should know that. Within NITI Aayog there are different units and those units are dedicated for different roles. So those units which are dedicated for different roles, we say nowadays verticals, right? Like say if you go on NITI Aayog website, we see that there are different verticals. Like vertical related to, this is a unit which will be working for cooperative federalism, unit for bottom-up planning, unit for innovation, unit for aspirational district initiative, that you can see this. So that way we can find, let's say, different types of verticals we can find now in NITI Aayog. So that is how its structural aspect. Now this, if you say that governing council, etc., it will consist of basically all, let's say that, all chief ministers, they will be, let's say, prime minister, like some cabinet minister, this So that will be considered also composition. Composition. So basically it is like when we say composition, PM as president, yes, so Prime Minister is president and Vice President is a permanent functionary appointed by Prime Minister. Then it has some members. Try to understand that NITI Aayog or Planning Commission. So they have right, from the very beginning both political members and non-political members. These are basically political institutions, but at the same time NITI Aayog is also a think tank. When it is a think tank, it should have also some permanent types of members. Otherwise, it will not work as think tank. Like say Interstate Council. The Interstate Council is not a think tank. It has only political members. It does not have any permanent members. This you can say. But NITI Aayog is both political as well as think tank. Because of think tank, so this is how it has a vice president who is basically a permanent functionary in the sense that he would be a member on permanent basis as long as he remains as member. Similarly, let's give 5-6 members will be an expert member in different respective fields. They will be also appointed as permanent member. That way we can say. And then any institution generally has a permanent institution, a CEO. Either you say it's secretary or chief executive officer. Amitabh Kant, let's say, so you may be hearing him here and there. So he is now, let's say, he has been working since then as CEO when it was created. Right. You can say that he is CEO since 2000. Right. NITI Aayog was created January 2015. Since 2015 to 2023, he is CEO. You can count how many years. Right. It's a very long tenure, let's say. He has compatibility with the government. So because of this, you can consider. They are the permanent part. Plus, they are the political parts, let's say. It's political. Chief ministers, administrators, let's say, of Union Territory. So it will be political aspect. Then they may be part-time members, not necessarily full-time members. There are some part-time members. There can be some invitee also, special invitee can also be there. So this in their meeting. Subgroup panel is just especially for some state-specific activities. It is governing council is full, let's say that complete, let's say when NITI Aayog as an institution, it meets as governing council. This governing council role is similar to what we used to have in past National Development Council. So it is like National Development Council, you can say this. Because National Development Council composition and Governing Council composition remain more or less same. Yes. So in a way, in NITI Aayog we have incorporated in NDC and Planning Commission. But it is not only NDC and Planning Commission. Right. NITI Aayog will be considered, let's say. NITI Aayog is equal to NDC plus Planning Commission plus, it is plus more than that. It is not only just combination of Planning Commission and NDC. Like, let's say that this subgroup panels. The subgroup panels subgroup panel was not part of NDC and Planning Commission. What subgroup panel will do? So state-specific related problems, region-wise problem, state-specific problem. So they will be asked to provide solutions, give their reports, suggestions. Like subgroup panel was responsible for recommendation to restructure centrally sponsored scheme. It played a very important role. So whatever the centrally sponsored schemes as of now we have, it was on the basis of subgroup panel recommended, which was headed by Shivraj Singh, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister. And we reduce our centrally sponsored schemes from more than 70s to now you have over 30. Around 30 such centrally sponsored schemes we have. So it was a major restructuring, which we'll talk you later here and there. So that way we can consider. This was part of Planning Commission it is. Now verticals it is also a bit new development, you can say that. So they are new because of new, let's say that the subject. So NITI Aayog as an institution in terms of composition, structure. Now, if you take composition, let's say that they are the think tank, but Planning Commission used to have more bureaucrats as members, but they have non-bureaucrats. Largely they are non-bureaucrats. That is how it is different. So NITI Aayog institutionally is different from Planning Commission and NDC. In terms of its structure, its composition, role and function, it has been given a broader mandate. This we can consider. And that is how we can write. So let's write on this. Therefore, institutionally, NITI Aayog is much more than Planning Commission and NDC. Much more than Planning Commission and NDC due to its inherent characteristics. Of cooperative federalism and promotion of innovations. Innovation. It has been created to play twofold. It has been created to play twofold roles. First, a political platform for consensus building on socio-economic development. And second, as a think tank to promote innovation and transformation. As a think tank to promote innovations and transformation. Hence, it has following role and functions. It has following role and functions. Following role and functions. See, there are several role and functions. If you go on website, etc., Google it, आजकल लक्ष्मीकांत में भी लिखा है, isn't it? You'll find so many role and functions, but that way it is difficult to deal. Largely you should know 4 major aspects. Because if questions are asked, we expect that its questions will be clubbed into 4 major dimensions. Right. As cooperative federalism, already they have asked this. As socio-economic planning development, it can be in paper 3, and this question in paper 3. It can be related to that. It can be again asked in paper 2nd. As policy design, bring reform. You know that there is a topic called also policy design in paper 2nd. So that way we can club it, and that way we can understand separate 4 aspects. So let's write on this. Although its mandate is very broad, its mandate is broader than Planning Commission. Although its mandate is broader than Planning Commission, which includes even external affairs, internal security and defense, but it can be broadly categorized into the above 4 categories, into the above 4 parts, First, instrument of cooperative and competitive federalism. Instrument of cooperative and competitive federalism. Instrument of cooperative and competitive federalism. Although Indian Constitution each one will try to deal. This is how we'll talk. That although Indian Constitution, yes, although Indian Constitution has characteristics of cooperative federal polity. Cooperative federal polity. Like Interstate Council, Finance Commission, Article 304, Granville Aston also remarked Indian federal polity characteristics as cooperative federal polity. There were also promotion of cooperative federal polity. There were also promotion of cooperative federal polity. There were also promotion of cooperative federal polity. Cooperative federal polity. There were also promotion of cooperative federal polity, like Constitution of National Development Council, Constitution of National Development Council, zonal councils, Chief Ministers Conference, and creation of Interstate Council. But cooperative federalism, after creation of NITI Aayog, has a new characteristics. That is, cooperative federalism has got redefined. Cooperative federalism has got redefined. Chandra, cooperative federalism means there are federal arrangements and mechanisms through which both union and states cooperate, in which union becomes more supportive to states. So, what we are trying to say, like cooperative federalism, see, people write as if cooperative federalism started after NITI Aayog creation. The answer, the way they write, which is not right, let's say. Politically, you can glorify present and you can deride past. Politically, it is correct, but not, let's say, academically. This Indian Constitution itself has characteristics of cooperative federalism. The Constitution itself has characteristics of cooperative federalism. That's why Granville Hastings remarked, the way other constitutional experts remark, he also remarked that, and his remarked that Indian Constitution had characteristics of cooperative federalism. Why cooperative federalism? Because in the Constitution itself you'll find there are some provisions in which both union and states can cooperate. Like I told, we wrote one thing called Article 304. Article 304 is related to cooperation between interstate trade and commerce. In interstate trade and commerce, they can cooperate. Similarly, two or more legislatures can ask union legislature to make law on their behalf. It is a sort of cooperation. So this way we can say that. Plus, there were a statutory mechanism. That day we wrote constitutional mechanism, statutory mechanism, and this called executive mechanisms. After independence, you know that in National Development Council was also created. Then in 1990, Interstate Council was also created. So we cannot say that there were no attempts to bring cooperation. In fact, NDC was instrument of cooperative federalism. NDC was a political platform which represented all states, chief minister, union territory administrators. So there were efforts to promote cooperative federalism. But when we talk cooperative federalism now, after creation of 2000, let's say, means when NITI Aayog is created, since 2000, so it has redefined, it has taken cooperative federalism to a new level. How it has taken cooperative federalism to a new level? After all, what are those characteristics that NITI Aayog has this cooperative and competitive federalism, means it has taken to that level? Okay. So let's try that. The factors which have influenced cooperative federalism going to a new level are as follows. First, NITI Aayog as an institution. NITI Aayog as an institution, due to its structure, NITI Aayog as an institution, due to its structure is a federal institution as against Planning Commission, which was unitary institution. Next, states have been given greater representation. In NITI Aayog vis-a-vis Planning Commission and NDC. As there are first governing council, next subgroup panel, next verticals. Next point, subgroup panel has played constructive role. In addressing state grievances addressing state grievances. State grievances. Grievances like restructuring of centrally sponsored schemes. Restructuring of centrally sponsored schemes. Next, there is concept of Team India. There is concept of Team India, led by Prime Minister. Team India, led by Prime Minister, for promotion of innovation and development. Innovation and development. Next, NITI Aayog symbolizes. NITI Aayog symbolizes within that first bottom-up planning as against centralized planning. Bottom-up planning as against centralized planning. Next, through NITI Aayog, states have been given. Greater freedom. Through NITI Aayog, states have been given greater freedom in socio-economic development. Including flexi fund. Increasing from 15% to 20%, 25%. Increased from 15% to 25%. 25%. Next, NITI Aayog has not been given power of funding. Next point within that, NITI Aayog has not been given power of funding, and 5-year planning system has been abolished. 5-year planning system has been abolished. Same paragraph. That is, by creation of NITI Aayog and its role and functions. All those factors related to planning and socio-economic development, which gave union dominance over states, including one-size-fits-all policy, have been discontinued. At the same time, some innovative steps have been taken. To understand all these things, let's understand planning commission. In that way we have to teach, otherwise it is not needed taught. Because you will not understand these things, what blah blah things we are saying. And even if you understand, so you may not know what iska significance kya hai. What is the significance of this? Or what is this flexi fund 25%? What is restructuring? Why it is so important? Right? Why it is discontinued? This. What is a state plan? How it was sanctioned by planning commission? For aspirational district, let's say block level, etc. So somewhere inside you should write, not here, right? Whatever will tell you, you should write somewhere inside. It will be not part of the continuity. Otherwise, generally it affects your answer, right? Because people think that it is part of the NITI Aayog, you start writing an answer. So unnecessarily you will write it. It is not important, right? So let's understand, we'll come back to this. So 1950s, you know that we adopted that centralized planning. I will try to conclude in very briefest manner. Centralized planning. Centralized planning means basically it will be formulated by center. It will be formulated by center. Now this centralized planning came to be known as 5-year plan. Basically we had 5-year plan. This was at national level and also at state level. Basically we had, let's say that union, states and district, block, panchayat. This is should all. So in a way planning was, let's say that initiated. So national level plan we have 5-year plan, state plan, this is a district plan, block level, and this level panchayat. Now even if let's say it looks like this, but it was planned at, all these things were done at, right, national level. And the body which did is planning commission. Right. And planning commission was an executive body. It is executive body and no state representation. So in a way they will submit their plan, it will go to this level, let's say this. So what will happen? Let's say plans approved, funds sanctioned. So plans approved, funds sanctioned, plus uniformity was the concern. Uniformity over diversity was given preference, right? So in plan, let's say that there was no state representation. In planning commission, there was no state representation. यही तो सब context will tell. Right. Difficult to do justice. We use very frequently, right? So, when here we use states do not have representation, so it is states, let's say that. This you can say, right? Union. So, the question is that basically if you take 50s, so we got independence. So idea was to bring uniform development. Right? That's why we also told quasi-federal polity we adopted. The idea was that we should bring uniform development. Still idea is one to bring uniform development, because you know that interstate disparity is very high. So that idea could be fulfilled by creation of an institution, let's say planning commission, necessitated. Already you know that it was era of planning and success of planning, Soviet Union planning, Soviet plan, USSR, how it was so successful that it influenced most of the developing countries adopting a system of planning. Even we also adopted a system of planning. So it was not wrong to adopt a system of planning. This is known as. Since the idea was to bring uniform development. So uniform development, the idea, this is how I know that. So this uniform development, that's why a centralized institution was created, which states did not have representation. It had only, let's say that members, let's say appointed by union government, think tank. It would have some think tank, it would have some ministers as part-time member, but they will all be by central government. And no, let's say that states representation, you can say that. No states representation. Now plans, let's say national plan, it demands approval also, plus states plan, so they will have also state. A state will have its own state 5-year plan. A district will have also its own plan. Block level also will have plan, panchayat will also have a plan. But all these plans will go like this. Ultimately they will be approved at top level. So basically you say that there were two types of plan. Let's say you can have a national plan, and within that you can have a state plan. The national plan will focus on uniformity throughout the country, and a state plan will be that for a specific state. And state plan will also be approved by planning commission. Now, when planning commission is trying to plan at union level, means at entire country level, so then it is concern of uniformity. When it is concern of uniformity, so diversity will be lost. So this uniformity in negative sense considered one size fit all. In negative side it is considered. इसी को बोलते हैं one size. So, since planning commission failed to achieve its objective, so it is criticized that it adopted one size fit all approach. And it was one such measures, let's say that cause of failure. Now, funds sanctioned, so it will demand centralization. So when it is approving the plan, then it will exercise authority. And when it is sanctioning the funds to them, then again it will exercise authority. It results into centralization. So these things results into centralization. This centralization. Now, how we wanted to bring development? Let's take next. So basically plans will be nothing but programs and schemes. What you will bring that? You will have programs and schemes. And programs and schemes can be largely categorized as central sector scheme, right, centrally sponsored schemes, It is 100% funded by center. It can be 90-10, 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. This. Then a time come that this is CSS research, centrally sponsored schemes. Now CSS, there's a number you will find that many a times CSS can have 300 plus, 144, 11 5-year plan, reduce UPA tenure to over 70, right? BJP time now over 30. 300 plus used to be CSS number. Yes. So basically you should know that कि centrally sponsored schemes ये सारा politics है, मतलब थोड़ा सा उसमें economics भी है but politics ज़्यादा है, right? So अब कोई स्कीम स्टार्ट होता है, राइट, तो लार्जली वो पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स के नाम पे होता है ना, राजीव गांधी, इंदिरा गांधी, दिस इज हाउ इट इज नाउ, दीन दयाल उपाध्याय, राइट. सो basically planning and development they wanted to do 3 more schemes and programs. आप देख सकते हो प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट ने इतने सारे स्कीम्स लाए हैं कि हम लोगों ने क्लास ही शुरू कर दिया स्कीम्स के ऊपर, isn't it? प्रोग्राम्स एंड स्कीम्स, राइट. हम लोग भी एक सेपरेट बुकलेट देते हैं प्रोग्राम्स एंड स्कीम्स के ऊपर, राइट, दिस. और वो एक सरदर्द बन गया है, isn't it? सॉरी टू से दैट, मतलब कभी पूछते हैं कभी नहीं पूछते हैं, तो आपको हमेशा जानना है. इतने सारे स्कीम्स एंड प्रोग्राम, मोदी जी तो हर दिन कुछ न कुछ नया लेट से दैट की इनिशिएट करते रहते हैं, राइट. इतने सारे प्रोग्राम आ गए हैं कि anyhow, so basically programs and schemes, let's say that they bring. Problem इसमें नहीं है, 100% funded by center, but such programs are very less. The programs which are 100% funded by center is very less. Like any example, if you want to know, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, it is 100% funded. But if you want to get example, कोई भी स्कीम लिख दो वो CSS ही होगा. अब इसमें पॉलिटिक्स होता है, राइट. इसमें भी ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. 30% यू आर फंडिंग, 70% फंड सेंटर फंड्स. तो 30% फंड हाउ दैट कम, नंबर इंक्रीज टू लाइक दिस. अभी भी प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट में ये कहने के लिए 30 है, पर एक स्कीम के अंदर 10 स्कीम है, जिसको बोलते हैं क्लस्टर अप्रोच, राइट. क्लस्टर अप्रोच, तो अभी भी गवर्नमेंट के पास 300 प्लस स्कीम्स है. अभी भी हमारे कंट्री में स्टेट्स को मिलाकर के 900 स्कीम्स प्रोग्राम्स. If you bring states and union together, so 900 schemes and programs will have, that highest number in the world. Right. Now the question is, let's say cluster sector, but we don't want to come here. We are talking positive about NITI Aayog, so we will not go into this. Right. Our focus is this: how it is centralized. तो centralized ये है कि ये scheme, the scheme is made at union level, national level. It is made at national level without asking states. Right, centrally sponsored scheme, so you are not asking to them. So when you do not ask, but you are making a scheme for them, that's why centrally sponsored scheme became one bone of contention between union and state relations. This so much that in 2013 centrally sponsored scheme question was asked in polity paper. This last means last time a question was asked on centrally sponsored schemes. Anyhow, so it becomes symbol. It is considered generally symbol of centralization. Why? Because even if they are having 30% funding, but they do not have freedom to utilize their funds. The funds given, they are tied funds. As we said, tied funds yesterday, means that day we were talking. So they are not given freedom to utilize the funds, let's say that. The funds given by the center, it is tied. That culture used to be. And that is how it resulted into centralization. So now let's come back to what we have written. A bit more you will understand. What has been done is that it is abolished. When it has been abolished, so centralization is abolished. Even let's say it has also been, the institution itself has been abolished. Then state plan, there is no state plan approval. There is a state plan, but approval is not needed because NITI Aayog has not been given planning and funding responsibility. Now what is this flexi fund? So this was introduced. Let's come there. So since there was centralization, CSS I was talking. Yes. So since it became a, let's say, one issue between union and state relations, hence let's say that the government in 2011, BK Chaturvedi committee, no need to write, you should know that. BK Chaturvedi committee was constituted in 2011 to restructure centrally sponsored schemes. Means a committee is set up. This issue is so, let's say that ki contentious. A committee is set up. So BK Chaturvedi committee was constituted. It gave recommendation, and then at its recommendation we introduced 15% flexi fund. Means suppose central government is giving 70% fund, 60% fund. So of that 15% they can utilize as per their choice. So flexibility was given. Now the present government has increased it to 25%. Yes, they have greater flexibility in utilizing the funds transferred by the center. That is how we can consider. Is it clear? Then place of this bottom-up planning, we will separately deal bottom-up planning to understand what is bottom-up planning. This is also when, although we do not teach schemes and programs means in details, but yes, when we'll tell you will understand this. That what aspirational district initiative a bit. So this is what we'll find out, the steps which have been taken. So somehow creation of NITI Aayog itself is a symbolic one. Symbolic one in terms of redefining cooperative federalism. Because inherently it promotes cooperative federalism. Plus they have taken some steps, etc. This is how we can consider. So let's write on this. Since 2015, the present government has taken up several steps to promote cooperative federalism. In which first states have got greater freedom and autonomy. States have got greater freedom and autonomy in their socio-economic development. In their socio-economic development. Next, NITI Aayog also works as think tank. To help states so that they can address their socio-economic challenges. So that they can address their socio-economic challenges. Including first, planning at state and local level. Good. Next, effective implementation of aspirational district initiative. Next, giving more autonomy in implementation of centrally sponsored schemes. However, still there are criticisms. For its role in field of cooperative federalism. Which cooperative federalism, which need to be tackled. So that there is in true sense promotion of cooperative federalism. See, problems will tell you at one place. Otherwise, it will result into unnecessary compartmentalization plus also repetition. We have always concerned first to let's give a holistic view also, or give a compartmentalized view also. Because a question can come on holistic aspect of NITI Aayog and a compartmentalized aspect of NITI Aayog. Compartmentalized is key to only related to cooperative federalism. Let's key related to bottom-up planning. Holistic is key, any sentence they can write on NITI Aayog that you can ask, means you can write. So both concerns are there. That's why criticism will tell you at one place. But this is how related to as far as cooperative federalism is concerned. This competitive will deal you separately. What is competitive federalism, what it has done. Plus separately will teach you also cooperative and competitive federalism, because it is not only NITI Aayog which is promoting cooperative and competitive federalism. So when a question is asked only on cooperative competitive federalism without asking name of any one institution, so then you have to talk it in a different way. And that will include also NITI Aayog, GST Council and Finance Commission, because they have also been promoting cooperative and competitive federalism. So this is how in a layered way you have to have the knowledge. Cooperative competitive federalism in general, cooperative competitive federalism in particular, let's say related to one institution. This, so that way we can talk. So let's write on this. Competitive federalism. It has also symbolized competitive federalism. By taking following steps, first, aspirational district initiative, next, smart city initiative, next, publication of different indices related to health, education, innovation. Next, promotion of state best practices. States best practices. Right. That's right. Second paragraph. Competitive federalism is a new characteristics. Characteristics of Indian federation, which is related to competition among states, so that they can also match in terms of performance. With center. Hence, NITI Aayog promotes best practices. Including the best district in national aspirational district, the best district in aspirational district initiative. It has improved states' performance. And it also becomes basis for their recognition and devolution of powers. Right. So, what we are trying to say is that, see, cooperative federalism used to be part of the Indian Constitution characteristics. Competitive federalism is a new term that we have started using. There may be in past also efforts to promote competition among states, but emphasis was not given the way now it is being given. Hence, it is considered also that it is a new characteristics of Indian federal polity. That way we should understand. So, what we are trying to say is that steps have been taken, let's say, how competition it promotes. It will promote competition among the states. Let's say smart city initiative you have. The smart city initiative that states have to compete against other states for their city getting selected as a smart city. So to get their city selected as a smart city, what they will do? They will have to improve their let's say infrastructure of their city. So competitive bidding happens. Same thing, let's say, in aspirational district initiative. First, a best district is declared at a state level, then a best district is declared at national level. It brings competitive, let's say that spirit. So similarly, when it is publishing different types of indices, health index, education index, innovation index, the states which will come on top, so they will promote, let's say, competition. Let's say others will also like, other states will also like that they should improve, and that way, let's say that we are trying to promote competitive federalism. Right? So generally, it is not asked separately. Let's say competitive federalism, cooperative federalism. Rather, they can use a term that is, let's say, cooperative and competitive federalism. But while writing examples, you should write a bit specific one which is related to competition and it is related to cooperation. Right?
How far do you think cooperation, competition, and confrontation have shaped the nature of federation?
So we'll give you evolution. We are in the process. अभी तक confrontation तक आया नहीं. वो तो simple question है. We have to talk about evolutionary aspect, which I have not told yet. Homogeneity, bargaining, conflictual. So evolution we have not told you how Indian federal has evolved since independence. Maurice Jones gave the characteristics of our Indian federal polity till the phase of 90s. Thereafter we will add ourselves what is the characteristics. It is based on that aspect. It is evolution. The question is related to evolutionary aspect. Right? When it was asked? 20? 2020, yes. There is a question also in GS paper 3 in NITI Aayog. Right? You can read it after we finish that. So, are you able to understand? We should take next. Right. So we have we have done this one, positive aspect. We'll do this socio-economic development and planning. That's right. The NITI Aayog role of NITI Aayog as socio-economic development and planning. Socio-economic development and planning. Traditionally, socio-economic development was done through a centralized 5-year planning system. 5-year planning system, which was abolished. And a new system was brought. Known as National Development Agenda. Known as National Development Agenda for socio-economic development. Socio-economic development. It is based on principle of bottom-up planning. It is based on principle of bottom-up planning. bottom-up planning. Change paragraph. Centralized 5-year planning. Centralized 5-year planning was suitable when India adopted. Centralized 5-year planning was suitable when India adopted a socialistic pattern of development. Socialistic pattern of development inspired by USSR success of planning. USSR success of planning. However, after 1990s, India adopted liberalized economy. India adopted liberalized economy, which demanded change in planning, like Planning Commission adopted indicative planning. Indicative planning. However, by and large, planning remained centralized. Planning remained centralized. Hence, when NITI Aayog was created, government abolished 5-year plan and adopted a new strategy known as National Development Agenda. National Development Agenda, in bracket. It is similar to a perspective planning followed in liberalized economy. It is similar to a perspective planning followed in liberalized economy.